Right, now we're going to have a look at the pursuit tasks. So I'm going to click on the first pursuit task, which is the simple. As I said here, we can either choose to use a sensor or move along without a device. I'm going to click now, move along without a device. Now we see here we have a library of tasks, and if we have a look at the library of tasks, it is actually showing you with the instructions what we should tell the patient to do. So what we want them to do is keep their head forward facing and not move their head, but just move the eyes as the object is moving along the screen. Now we can see here that we have a horizontal movement of the eyes, and you can see that those eyes are actually very smooth, and that's why it's called smooth pursuit, as it's going to follow the object along the screen. Now when I press the next library, we can see that the eyes are now moving vertically from up to down. Again, the instructions are to keep your head straight onto the screen and just move your eyes.
Next.
Now we press next, and we're going to show you now what that looks like. So I'm going to press play, and you can see that that object is moving up and down. Again, the instructions are to keep your head not moving and forward facing on the screen, and just your eyes to watch the object going up and down. I'm going to press stop. Now I'm going to press treatments. I'm going to go back into that simple. Now I'm going to do this horizontal movement. Okay, so when I press the horizontal movement, you see that the object is moving from right to left. Okay, so I'm going to press stop, and I'm going to go into settings. Now as the first part of the software of the videos said, we can now change the settings. We can change those backgrounds. Now it's a simple background, so we can actually just change the contrast here. But we can also change, along with all the games, we can change the amount of time that the task is going to work for. We can change the size of the object. We can change the range that the object is going to move from left and right across the screen. So 3 means is moving full deflection from right to left. If I go on to a 2, now it's only moving in the middle 2/3 of the screen. And if I go on to a 1, it will just move in the middle 1/3 of the screen. So we'll show you this. We'll leave it on 2/3 here. Now we can change the speed that object moves along the screen, the speed that you have to pursue with your eyes. And very importantly here is the work rest time. So we've chosen a work time of 10 seconds and a rest time of 50 seconds. Now you'll see what we've done here. So I'm going to press apply, and I'm going to press play, and you can see we're working with the middle 2/3. Instructions are for your patient to keep their head straight on to the screen, and they're pursuing just with their eyes to follow. That was the work time of 10 seconds, and now we have the rest time of 50 seconds. We're going to go into settings here. We're going to click on treatments. Now we're going to take the next complexity of background. So we had the simple background. We're going to take the complex background. Now what we're going to do to show you now here is that we're going to use a sensor. Now I'm going to click a sensor. Now this is again, the library is showing you where to put the sensor, and it's telling you the movement that you should just keep your eyes straight on. Now this is different because you do not have to set up a range of motion. You can just press the reset button. Now what's happening here is if I press next here, we see that we give feedback about head positioning on the top bar. So what happens is the sensor, the 3D tutor, is calibrated already to the angle of movement of rotation. So if it's fixed on the position of the head and the patient rotates 30 degrees to the left, you'll see that the feedback shows you, or shows the client, that they've rotated. If we now turn to the right, you can see that the feedback shows the client that they've rotated to the right. But the instructions are to keep your head forward facing. So I'm going to press play, and I'm going to just take out the melody here. Now we see the instructions are keep your head forward facing, and just with your eyes follow that ball going from right to left, right to left. Now if the patient actually moves their head, they'll get the feedback at the top with their head movement, and that's the feedback is telling them no, keep your head forward facing and only move your eyes. Okay, so we're going to go into settings now, and you can see that we have different settings of this middle complex setting, okay, or what we call complex. So we have the C, and I'm going to click off to the butterfly, and you can see what that looks like here. Again, you'd have the smooth pursuit task over the butterfly image. I'm going to press into settings. We have the clouds, and we'll see what that looks like. And now we're going to go into settings, and we're going to show you the last one, which is the river, and you'll see what that looks like. Now we're going to go back into the treatment section here, and we're going to go now to a moving background. Again, we can choose to give the head feedback, or we can move along without the device. So we move along without the device. We're keeping, now we have the library of tasks, the vertical movement of the eyes or the horizontal movement of the eyes. We're going to press next. Now you're going to see now this moving background. So what's happening here, we have this moving car background, and you have the pursuit overlaid on top of that moving car background. Okay, so exactly the same instructions to the patient to just follow the ball with their eyes from right to left. Now if I go on to the settings, we can change from a bird background, and you'll see what the bird background is. So again, it's a moving background, okay, slightly less complex, but it's called a complex background. We're going to go onto settings. So we have the birds, the car, and then the train. Now the train is the most let's say stimulating of them all. So when we press play, you can see here that they have to do this pursuit task, and behind them they have the moving train. Okay, and here I actually like the sound, so it's good. So we're going to press stop, and that completes now the pursuit tasks. Okay, so we're going to go from the pursuit task now, we're going to go into treatments, and we're going to go on to the Saccade task. So again, we have the three backgrounds. We have the simple background, the complex background, and the moving background. So let's click on simple background, again without the device. Now the library of tasks immediately have changed. You can see that the Saccade movement is a jumping from right to left. Okay, so it's not a pursuit, it's a jumping. It's a Saccade movement from right to left. Okay, and what the instructions are is for the patient to follow the object on the screen, but the following the object on the screen will be the Saccade exercise. Okay, so when I press play, the object jumps from right to left, and the client has to follow that with the eyes keeping their head position straight on. Okay, so again, if we have a look in the settings, we can change the contrast, we can change the time, we can change the size of the object, we can change the range. Okay, so the middle 2/3 or the full screen or just 1/3. And we can change, which is very important, the speed of the Saccade and the cycle time. Okay, so we're going to press apply, and then we're going to press play, and you can see that now the speed of the jumping or the speed of the Saccade movement has changed.